Did you know that 70% of financial advisors fail in the first 2 years? And get this, of those who started 10 years later, only about 1% of those who started in the industry have built a thriving career. Now, I don't know about you, but as a seasoned vet, 2 decades now in the financial advisor community, winning national awards, reaching an 8-figure exit within a very short time frame, scaling firms from 8 to 9 figures in value, and now having the privilege to pour my heart back into so many financial advisors, coaching them to this magical outcome, I hear numbers like 70% fail in the first 2 years, or only 1% actually reach a thriving career. And my mind goes to why? Why? What are they dealing with in their lives that is causing this problem? What is it about the business that is leading to this failure rate? And friends, I've worked with advisors at every stage of life, whether they're just starting, whether they're in that growth phase where they're scaling up and they're hitting their proverbial glass ceiling at 300 in revenue or 500 in revenue or 800 in revenue. And I've worked with those firms who have reached $1 billion, who are now trying to figure out how do we increase the value for an exit. So no matter where you're at, one thing I've seen is that the pain points, the challenges are very similar. So today I want to give you 5 points that if you can apply them to your practice, it will help you scale, thrive, beat the odds, and ultimately build extreme wealth for yourself. So let's go into it. Number 1, what if the reason your business isn't growing as fast as you desire is because you don't know where you're going? You see, vision, as we often define it, is not just nice to know. It is literally the difference between your success and failure. And whenever I study vision and I read the statistics, like 70% of financial advisors fail within the first 2 years, my mind goes, holy cow, do they not have a dream of where they wanted to be? Did they quit on their dream too early, like the old book, Acres of Diamonds? I was reading a study this week on Henry Ford on how he developed the V8 motor, and he told his engineers, I want a poured cast V8 block, not bolted together. They said it's impossible. First 6 months, he said, I don't care, go out and do it. 6 months went by, no results. I don't care, go out and figure it out. A year went by. Henry Ford, probably like many business owners, would have given up, but he didn't. He said, I don't care, I'm gonna have this. And right after that came a breakthrough. Could it be that so many advisors haven't thought about where they're going? I've heard advisors say recently, I just can't get enough clients. I heard someone say, I don't know how to move upstream. I heard a 30-year veteran, somebody who's been in the business longer than me, say, dude, I'm going to die at my desk. And I'm diving into the questions around where we're doing our free strategy call. By the way, click the link below and you can have a free strategy call. But I'm diving these questions with them and I'm saying, all right, man, I hear where your frustrations are. I hear your pain point, but where do you want to be? And inevitably they're like, I really don't know. So if you don't know where you want to be, then how do you know if you're off the mark? You see, vision drives every decision. Perhaps the reason why you don't have the clients you want is because you don't have the clients you need to attract, because you don't know where you want to go. Therefore, you can't determine the clients you want to attract. Let me say that slower. The clients whom you serve are a direct result of where your vision tells you need to go. The services you offer are a direct result of the clients you want to serve, which is a direct result of the visions of where you want to go. The systems in which you build is a direct result of the services you want to provide, which is a direct result of the clients you want to serve, which is a direct result of the vision of which you have for your future. Everything is hinged on your vision. It's kind of like me going offshore in a boat, catching some tuna or some marlin or some wahoo or something of that nature. And I have no GPS. I have no compass. I have nothing out there to navigate but for the wind and the stars. That is very scary. I've been there a few times, and in the ocean, you get turned around ever so quickly. But so many of us, we go out and we start our practices, or now we're a decade in, or 2 decades or 3 decades into our practice, and we honestly don't know what we want. So how do we gain clarity? Where do we start? May I give you a simple exercise that you might want to consider? Consider doing this. What is one thing, this is hard for us, I know, we're very detailed, but what is one thing that you must accomplish in the next 12 months for you to consider the next 12 months of success? I don't want to see 35 things, dude. Give me one thing that if I can do this, man, this year is going to be a success. For me, I'll tell you mine right now as we speak, is I want to see our coaching numbers go from, we're about 30 or 40 clients right now that we're coaching in the financial advisory space. I want to scale that to 300 in the next year. I want to 10x it in the next year. That's my one thing. Okay, so now if I write that down and it becomes the North Star, everything now has to point to support that. So could it be that the reason why we are failing is because we don't have clarity of where we want to go? I submit to you it is. All right, number 2, are you busy being busy? You know, the truth is that most advisors mistake activity for progress, and it's costing them time, money, focus, and ultimately it's eroding their hunger. You see, without clarity, it is so easy to waste time with meaningless things. We dabble on things that we like. We get into our planning software and we spend hours pushing buttons, or we get into our research and we spend hours watching stocks, or like me, we get into the Internal Revenue Code and we spend hours reading the code. Yes, I know I'm a nerd, but that's really, I kind of enjoy that. When the reality is those things are needed and they're fun, but it's not the main thing. If 56% of advisors say that gaining clients is the number one problem they have, then shouldn't every waking moment that we can be dedicated to helping us attract the client, which is going to support our vision? Over the years, I've spent literally millions of dollars in coaching, and my coaches have changed my framework in such a way where I often don't see scarcity. I see abundance. I often don't see failure. I see victory. And one of the things they drilled in my head is this: distraction is the enemy of execution. Every time I water my vision down and get distracted in the business or with the noise around me, I wane in my execution. And friends, so many of us as advisors, we're all over the place. We're trying to learn social media over here one day. The next day, we're trying to host a seminar. The next day, we're dealing with compliance. The next hour, we're dealing with this client. The next minute, we're dealing with our hobby. And we drain our hunger. It kills our momentum. It ends up robbing us of our vision and of our desires. Les Brown, one of my favorite motivational speakers of all time, he says, you got to be hungry. And he says it with that deep voice he has. The reality is that in the early days, we're hungry. But then we get busy and we lose it. Hunger thrives on clarity. Whenever you can get crystal clear about where you're going and who you're serving and what their goals are and how your services are going to meet them, then friends, you can dedicate all of your energy to what matters. So may I give you some action steps here? Every single day, write down the one thing that you have to do that day to move your business to your desired outcome. The one thing. Now, for most of us, we don't know where we want to go, so we can't do this. But once you identify where you want to be, write the one thing that day that'll move your business forward. And then you have to do that before you finish anything else. That one thing has to be accomplished first. Okay, Justin, I hear you. What next? Next thing is audit your time. Every single day, write down what you do. Track how you spend your time. You want to build wealth. You want to make more money. You want to have freedom, then audit your time. See, when you audit your time, you can do number 3, and that is create a not to-do list. I'm not going to do this. For me, one of the very first things I say is I'm not going to schedule my own appointments. I'm not going to return phone calls. I'm not going to listen to voicemails. I'm not going to do these things. There's certain things that just wasted my time and derailed me from what I was trying to accomplish. You see, if we audit our time and we write down what we're not going to do, then we can make sure that we hit our daily priority. So friends, may I ask you a simple question? Are you too busy being busy? And I submit to you that the vast majority of us are. The results indicate it. Okay, here's a tough one for us. What if being misunderstood is the best sign you're on the right path? This one took me some time to learn. I'd been a business owner for 20 some odd years whenever I really grasped this through my coach, and he was teaching me this, and then I began to look for it, and now I see it everywhere. Oftentimes, as we move in a direction with extreme clarity, we start getting misunderstood by our team, by our clients, by our family, by our friends, by people around us. That actually may be the very sign that we're on the path to doing something great. You see, when you start focusing, forgetting everything else, Okay. Following, focus, as the acronym says, follow one cause until success. When you start focusing, you will inevitably face resistance. Your team, your family, your clients, your friends, they're not going to understand your decisions. So let me give you an example. What if your team is saying, dude, why are we spending so much money on technology right now? Or, man, why are you inside the podcast studio again? Or why are you doing another seminar? Or doing whatever it is there. Your friends may be saying, dude, why are you missing so many football games? Why aren't you going out with us on the weekends anymore? It's normal. And oftentimes it's a sign of being on the right track. You see, being misunderstood often means that you're making the bold moves to move something extraordinary. You've gone out of your comfort zone. You're uncomfortable, but it's necessary for growth. So here's how to manage being misunderstood. Number one, be crystal clear in your vision. I'm going back to the very first point. Friends, if you're going to deal with your family, your friends, your clients, everybody you're dealing with, they need to know where you want to be. And they're trying to figure out, okay, well, how's this change going to help him get there? You see, oftentimes the people who misunderstand us and the people who attack us and that are closest to us, they genuinely love us. And they want only what's best for us. But they just don't have a framework of which we can process it, and they're scared for us. So get crystal clear in your message so you can articulate the message to your friends and the people who care about you and explain how this action is helping you achieve that. In the last couple of years, I'll give you one case in point. In the last couple of years, there are people that were speaking into my life in a negative manner, and it was causing me to lose sleep at night. It was causing me to cast my eyes on the situations or the attacks or the problems. And I literally had to put barriers, walls up between me and those individuals. And when I did so, I got peaceful. It was like, okay, I'm good. I'm sorry they feel this way, but I know the destination. I know the path that God has for me, and I'm going to walk down this path. I'm going to run down this path. I'm going to crawl down this path. I'm going to do whatever I can do to go down this path that God's created for me. What I had to do, though, is as I put barriers up, is I had to surround myself with a support network, find people who get around me that understood my vision. This is what I'm loving about our mastermind programs right now. We have various phases right now. So for example, you may be an advisor in the startup phase. I've got mastermind programs. They're advisors in the startup phase are learning together and they're encouraging each other. I've got advisors that are making major shifts in their practices right now. We've got advisors that doubled their revenue last year that are in our masterminds, and they're working with other advisors to have that same outcome, that same desire. And when I say masterminds, we're talking about less than 5 people together. The reason for that is you're building a support network, that this common cause where you can mentor each other as well as learn and get in the trenches with each other like a good, perhaps, football team might do, where you're bleeding together, you're pushing together, all for the same outcome. That works, friends. And if you're not part of a mastermind, may I challenge you to look at one? We've got an unbelievable right now with lots of advisors who are moving forward. And ultimately, you have to stay consistent. You see, whenever you set that vision forward and you start facing those headwinds and misunderstanding, when people push back, when your friends push back, when your family pushes back, when your clients pushes back, stay consistent. Stay consistent. I often remind myself of where I started. I remind myself of the challenges that I was able to survive with God's help. I remind myself of the successes I've had in the past. And whenever I look at where I want to go, I have the framework behind me to say, man, if I got through that, this is nothing. But you've got to stay consistent. Trust the process. Friends, I'm telling you, the results will speak for themselves. Okay, here's my 4th point. Friends, if you nail down this point, I'm telling you, it will lead to wealth. It'll lead to happiness. It will lead to freedom. And that is this. Do you have a vision? That is crystal clear. Dude, Justin, point number 1, on it, man. Got it. Got the t-shirt. I know exactly where I want to be. Great. Do you have a vision, but no results? You see, ideas without execution are just dreams. And most advisors are dreaming. Many advisors have great ideas and we have a clear vision, but we struggle with execution. We either overthink it, the old paralysis by analysis creeps in, and boy, does it with us. Or we get caught up in the daily routine or the daily trivia, and we leave our big goals, our big vision, our big dreams on the back burner. And friends, If I could smack my hands on this camera, I would. If I could do like my dad did, grab me by the shoulders and shake me, I would, friends, because I'm on the phone with too many of you, too many advisors these days who have been in the business for 15, 20, 30, 40 years, guys. And they're like, Justin, man, I'm tired. I didn't accomplish what I wanted to. I could have done better. I'm broke. I don't know what to do. And the reason for it is perhaps they had a vision, but they didn't execute. They did not execute. I love this quote by Robert Heinlein. He was a late writer and an aeronautical engineer. He makes this quote. He said, in absence of clearly defined goals, we become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia until we ultimately become enslaved by it. Boy, isn't that the truth? And friends, that's where many of you are. You have the vision, but you're not executing. We spend hours tweaking spreadsheets. We spend hours learning software. We spend hours going out and getting the alphabet soup. And we think that all these things are going to help us get to the next level, and it's not. Execution is the secret. Execution requires a plan and relentless commitment to action. It's not enough to know where you're going. You have to take consistent steps to get there, even when it hurts, even when it's hard, even when it's unpopular, even when your friends, your family, your team look at you and scoff. If you know where you're going, you're hell-bent on reaching it, friends, then execution is the only thing that matters. So, how do we turn our vision into execution? We want to break our dreams, our goals. We want to break them down into actionable steps. I love doing this with our coaching clients. We have a 2-day event that we do where if somebody's like, dude, I want to get there fast, we bring them to East Tennessee. We do a 2-day event in Knoxville, and then we instantly move into the right mastermind and we start coaching them to that outcome. The result of this 2-day event is we tear down all the barriers. We've ended up finding out where exactly do you want to be, who exactly do you want to serve, where is your practice position, and then ultimately what actions do you need to take over the next 90 days. We're going to break these down to 27 actions that you or your team needs to take in the next 27 days to reach your outcome, your desired outcome. What are we doing? We're getting hyper-focused on one causation, and we're breaking them down to actionable steps that who is responsible for what by when. And when we do that, friends, we get super focused. We end up yielding the results. And then what we do is we track our weekly progress. We don't just get the information like so many of us do. We get the information and then we think the information along is going to solve our problems. No, we track the daily results. I love watching football. When Ohio State won the national championship this year, would they have won that if they simply just devised a game plan? No. Let me ask you this. Would they have won it if they just simply said, we're going to win the national championship? No. So if in order us to reach our vision, we have to execute, which means we have to break it down to actionable steps. And then we got to track it. And then we got to have accountability. Now, just imagine we took the same players, all the talented individuals from Ohio State, and we removed the coaches. Would they have achieved the national championship? No. Why? Because the coaches can see something that they couldn't see. Yet so many of us as financial advisors were too daggum cheap to go out and hire somebody to actually show us where we're flawed. Trust me, I've been a financial advisor myself for years. I can remember paying money to coaches at $10,000 a month going, man, this is expensive. And I was looking at the price versus the results. So friends, you want to move into wealth? You've got to move into a direction where you can begin executing. I hope this is helping you. Number five is this. Could it be the reason why you're stuck in business? You're not able to scale the way you want to scale. You're not able to attract the right clientele. You're not able to have the time off that you desire. You're not able to get the income that you want, and you're not able to build the net worth you desire. Could it be that the metric for which you're chasing is the very thing that's holding you back? You see, success isn't about how many clients you have. It's about the value your practice creates for them. Yet too many financial advisors measure success through vanity metrics. Like, here are the number of clients I have, or here's how many assets I manage, without understanding the actual profitability or scalability or value of their practice. One advisor I was talking with here recently has $500 million of assets under management, and it was almost like this feather in the hat. I could see their chest puffing up. I have $500 million in assets under management. I'm like, dude, that's amazing. Tell me about the story. What was the journey like? And he started telling me. I said, then what's the problem? He said, I'm broke. What do you mean you broke? He goes, dude, I can barely break even. And what happened was he was focused on getting the assets under management, but he wasn't building the processes and the system to provide profitability, much less value. Much less value. There was very little value in this practice. It would have been pennies on the dollars what it could have been. The reality is, in his situation, is the true metrics were telling a different story than he was telling himself. You see, profitability, client retention, team efficiency, scalability, transferability, the systems that you're building there are measurements that you can measure to determine if you're on the right path to wealth, if you're on the right path to freedom, if you're on the right path to scaling, if you're on the right path to attracting the clientele that you desire. Okay, that being said, how do we focus on the metrics that matter most? There's a couple of things you might consider here. And in our coaching clients, we dive a little deeper through this and we actually help them implement this. So perhaps you might want to consider the profitability per client. How much revenue is each individual client generating for your company? And then if you calculate it after the expenses, perhaps you're charging somebody $3,000 for a financial plan and you're farming it out and it's costing you $1,500 for a subcontractor. That means you would look and say, okay, I got $1,500 coming in from this financial plan. That's after my expenses. Well, then how much profitability is that? How many hours are you spending there? How much infrastructure do you need to support that financial planning need? Most of us don't think that way. Perhaps you need to track retention. Well, Justin, I don't have any turnover. Okay, well, why? Turnover is not a bad thing. Design turnover, design movement in a practice actually moves the value and allows you to move up line. This week, I was talking to a seasoned vet. He's 27 years in practice. And I said, man, what's up? He goes, Justin, I want to move up line. I want to do more complex cases. I'm like, okay, what's holding you back? He goes, I don't have any capacity. I'm like, well, why not? I can't serve any more clients. Well, how are you going to work with more if you can't serve anymore? Well, I don't know. But that's what I want to do. Okay, well, cool. Let's talk about your client mix. We dove in a little bit, and this was on our free strategy call. We dove in a little bit, and he's like, yeah, but I can't let them go because I can't let them. I said, dude, you're saying one thing, but you're doing something else. We call that moronic. That doesn't make any sense to me. You don't want to change. Well, no, I want to change. No, you don't. You just literally said one thing, you're doing something else. We've got to figure out how to cut this many clients out of your current book. We got to give them to a junior advisor. I don't have one. Let's hire one. Let's sell them out. Let's do something. If you want to move up line, you got to create capacity. No. I want to get more clients. So it doesn't work that way. It was literally, he was having a problem with the retention mentality that he's been drilled in his practice. And therefore, by the way, he won't move. And when he listens to this podcast, you know who I'm talking to. 5, 6, 7, 10 years from now, you're going to be in the exact same position you are today. And the reason for it is you're not willing to make the difficult decision and go through the pain of the immediate to have the pleasure of the future. You're actually acting just like your clients that frustrate you. You're dealing the same results. Or maybe it is you as an advisor, you don't know how to assess your scalability. We're great technicians. But we don't know how to look at our business and say, hey, we're missing this 1 or 2 or 3 different things that allow us freedom, that allow us automation, that allow us to improve training, that allow us to use retention whenever transferring clients around. If you master this, it will lead to wealth. It will lead to freedom. That is, you've got to measure the right metrics. So the 5 pain points are you lack the vision and it's causing you to be stagnant. It's causing you to miss the mark. You're taking the path of least resistance and it's wasting your potential. You're being misunderstood by the bold moves and it's holding you back. You're dissolving your hunger. You're not executing. And then you're focusing on the wrong metrics. Friends, reaching your dreams, whether that is to scale your practice, make more money, work with better clientele, transition your practice, sell your, whatever it is, your business next move isn't about luck or hoping for the best. It's about taking calculated, strategic, well thought out, proven moves and discipline, courage, encouragement, coaching, and everything else to move you to the desired outcome. So ask yourself this simple question. What is one action you can do today to move you closer to your vision? Friends, I hope this episode helps you. Till next time, y'all go out and make it a great day.